What is going on, everybody? It is episode 646 of Pop Culture Crisis. My name is Brett, and I am here once again on this 4th of July Eve with my co-host. Would you introduce yourself, please?
Hello, Crisis Actors. It's Mary. Happy early 4th of July. I am just barely pulling myself together right now because Brett likes to make offensive jokes 2 minutes before we start the show.
It was not 2 minutes before the show.
It was like 10 minutes
before the show. It's not my fault you're still laughing.
It took me over 10 minutes to fully recover from laughing at this joke that we're not going to retell.
One day I'll launch a Patreon with all of the offensive
we
jokes
need to
there.
do that.
Yeah.
It should be like $100 a month Patreon that we just launched now that just shows our entire show prep.
I would like to think kind of in the way that people were shocked when they found out that Bob Saget, who did Full House as the wholesome dad, also was a dirty comic.
That would be you.
That would be me.
You're not the wholesome podcast dad anymore.
Podcast, yes. I love the 4th of July. It's an incongruous time because what's funny is I joke a lot about how much the government sucks, because it's true, the government does suck. But it's this weird back and forth you have with yourself where you love your country, you love the idea of your country, but you hate the people that run it for the most part. So I do love this time of year because it kind of sets off a lot of people. I was going to wear one of my American flag hats today. I actually had a bit planned where I was going to wear like a different one for every segment because I have a variety of different hats with American flags on them. But this one's just slightly too small. It shrank, and I don't feel like getting a migraine today.
Yeah, like today we just decided to let ourselves go.
Dane canceled on us.
Yeah, Dane canceled on us. I swear that I'm not lying right now. I forgot to watch yesterday's episode of The Acolyte, and I felt bad about it, but I swear that it was an earnest mistake.
Has nothing to do with the weird thirst traps for Darth Gimp mask.
And I feel terrible because you had to watch that on your birthday.
It was awful. It was
at
like
my insistence.
It was 9:45. I was having a perfectly pleasant night in, and then suddenly I look over and I go, I have to watch this episode of The Acolyte. He's like, can you just watch it tomorrow? I'm like, no, because we're going to be off the rest of the week, so we can't just put it off a day. So I had to watch it last night. It was suitably every bit as boring and lame as you expect it to be, but you'll have to stay tuned for next week. We'll have to do a two-part. I'm fixing the money guns as I talk here. We'll have to do a two-part, episode 6 and 7 review next week.
Well, if you want to do it that way, that's fine. Yeah. But I just knew that when they had him start stripping his clothes, that the BPD hoes on, I guess, fandom Twitter were going to start making fan edits of
all
him
of the Raylos. All of the Raylos have now put all their energy into this. Is that what they're called? Yes.
Raylos. Meaning they ship Ray and
Kylo Ren.
Kylo Ren.
Yeah, they're weird.
Okay.
They're weird.
I don't ship Ray with anybody.
Yes, well, it's because,
I don't really like her character.
There you go. So, guys, we got a bunch of stuff to get into today.
Sorry, hold on. I sent you something that we could add to, like, Cringe of the Day.
Okay. Oh, wow. Okay. Yeah. I'll wait until we get to the Cringe. I don't want to put it on screen.
It's a timestamp.
Okay.
But yeah, just letting you know before we get started.
Okay. All right. We
related to 4th of July.
But before we get started, guys, hit the like button on this video, please. If you love America and you hate the government, you should hit the like button in this video. 1 like equals 1 love for America and hatred of the U.S. government. That's what it is.
Oh. I thought you were going to go somewhere else.
No. 1 like equals 1 love for America. There, guys. So hit the like button on this video. Subscribe to this channel.
Like the video, Patriots.
Yes. If you are an American patriot,
buy our
video.
Patriot dirt.
I would love to sell that. Subscribe to this channel if you have not done so already. What kind of patriot are you if you haven't subscribed to this channel yet? And remember to share the video with your friends, family, fellow patriots that you also frequent the internet with. It is the best way to help this show grow. And also remember that all Super Chats, $20 and over, we will interrupt the discussion. We will read those Super Chats right then and there. Mary wants to get the hell out of here today, so if you want to keep us here, you're going to have to Super Chat.
I didn't say that. I think actually you helped me get some tension out of my system by laughing for
Perfect.
that long before the show, so now I'm all loosened up. I'm
You're
ready
good to go. Okay. Well, that's my job here, ladies and gentlemen. Horrible jokes until everybody's ready to go.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what are we going to talk about today? We're going to keep it light, I think, for the most part with the intro. Oh, no. We have serious stuff in the intro too, kind of.
What do you mean?
Oh, I guess not serious, but we're going to try.
Serious.
The EV magazine stuff is not serious, but it's at least we're going to talk about whether it's sexist for rugby players to have their own lingerie catalog commercials.
Yeah, and whether Strong is actually beautiful and sexy.
So we're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about Assassin's Creed because a petition has been started because they want to put a stop to this game. Japanese gamers have had enough with the revisionist history. I also want to fold into a little bit of what's going on with Denzel Washington in Gladiator 2 because I don't think it's going to get a lot of play in these places. I think for a multitude of reasons, but there's no cultural cachet around something that's going to only be watched by boomers anyways.
Are you sure about that?
I don't think it's going to get the play that something like Assassin's Creed is going to. But I want to talk about Denzel Washington a little bit because he is going to be in Gladiator 2 and people are having their typical is it woke, is it not discussion given that it takes place during the Roman Empire. So
right.
We're going to discuss it. We're also going to talk about MrBeast. Which way, Western men? Are you Ava Chris Tyson or are you Chandler? Poor any kid named Chandler who was very clearly named after a character from Friends.
It's sad because they're both side characters in the MrBeast universe.
She called them sidekicks. I felt like an instinctual reflex to be like, that's kind of rude, but it's true.
It's true. If you're one of the cast members in MrBeast videos, you are a sidekick.
That makes us Tim Pool sidekicks.
But we don't. Okay, here's the difference. We're not in his shows, you know?
Correct.
We're not really part of his content.
We were one time, but him and Elijah just talked the whole time, so we didn't have to.
Yeah.
So we're going to talk about MrBeast. We're also going to talk about a brand new concept that Gen Z has stolen from the millennials entitled Sadfishing. Kind of like, remember vague booking? Or if you were my generation and you were sad and you put emo lyrics as your away message on AIM. Well, they're trying to make a more... what would the term be? Medicalized version of this by giving it a name. So we're going to talk about it. We got a bunch of other stuff to get into. So if you are ready, Mary, we will just get started. Are you ready?
I'm trying to be.
She's doing her best. Unfortunately, we have bad news to start, ladies and gentlemen. Chet Hanks is putting a stop to White Boy Summer.
He gave out a PSA about White Boy Summer.
I don't blame him.
today.
After what you showed me after this, I don't blame him. Okay, this is what he says. White Boy Summer was created to be fun, playful, and a celebration of fly white boys who love beautiful queens of every race. Anything else that it has been twisted into to support any kind of hate or bigotry against any group of people is deplorable, and I condemn it. I hope that we can all spread love to each other and treat each other with kindness and dignity. I agree.
Said that we belong in the basket of deplorables.
I agree.
That's it. I'm logging into the PCC Instagram and I'm unfollowing Chet today. I've had enough.
Don't do it. Okay?
He's disavowing us.
And you think that this is for a specific reason?
Yeah, well, it's truly because we're 3 years, or no, is it 4 years at this point, post White Boy Summer?
At least. Oh, it was 2019, right?
No, I think it might have been
2021.
2021, yeah.
Okay.
That he invented White Boy Summer and coined the term. I'm surprised he doesn't have legal rights to it.
I'm almost positive he does.
So many people have usurped it and used it for their own ends.
Even us made jokes about it back in 2022.
At least at that point, it wasn't a stale meme. It's beyond a stale meme at this point. It's been 3 years. Specifically, I think he might be saying this because Turning Point USA used White Boy Summer branding at their recent event in Detroit earlier in June.
Okay,
let's take a look at their event.
Is that dubstep?
Yes. What? This is what they think is cool to college students.
What year is it?
Got the pit vipers. The fog machines blasting. Yep. They're throwing the flags out. And look who's in the crowd.
Meemaw loves White Boy Summer. Meemaw loves White Boy Summer. Xanax and White Boy Summer. Okay. Okay, that's enough. Okay.
No shade to Jack Posobiec, but that was cringe.
No, look, as soon as you attach it to like an entirely political ideology, it's no longer fun.
I mean, it's been stale for a while now, and I feel like Chet was being pressured to disavow this behavior.
I mean, that's kind of lame too then.
Yeah, he gave into the pressure when he shouldn't have, and Turning Point used White Boy Summer as a brand when they shouldn't
like,
have.
I don't even get what the point of it is for them.
It just stopped being fun. Like
when
this is why everyone ruined Hawk Tuah memes.
I make jokes about women's summits, okay, but at least the Turning Point women's summits have like a theme and a purpose, right?
Yeah, they make a whole lot more sense than what I just watched.
Yes, I don't know if it works the same for something as vaguely pop culture as White Boy Summer from 2021 or whenever it was that he released that song.
Like you're gonna wait 3 years after the meme to make it part of your brand?
I guess.
Like,
it's weird.
It's dated. I mean, it was a good idea in the first place, and then now Chet has essentially bent the knee
in the chat,
to the mob.
In the chat, Skull Leader asks, "Who the f is Chet?" Oh, my friend. Just go and did. It's not my job to do the research. Right? Chet Hanks is the son. He's the non-dorky son of Tom Hanks. The dorky son is Colin Hanks. Chet Hanks is the one who pushes the dorky son into lockers.
He speaks in a Jamaican accent.
Well, I don't know if he does that anymore.
He tells SJWs to kick rocks.
Yes.
Until
what was her name?
now.
Z-Way.
Yeah.
Z-Way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, OG crisis actors know who Chet Hanks is. He's one of the only people that our Instagram account follows until today. I'm going to unfollow him.
Might have to do that.
Because he's disavowed us.
All right. I don't know if it's good news, but there's certainly news for fans of The Sims.
Yeah.
I'm guessing there's women in our audience who played The Sims.
Sims 4 is introducing polyamory into the game with the Lovestruck expansion pack. You can now define how your Sims approach romantic relationships in terms of physical and emotional romantic exclusivity. This allows for Sims to date multiple Sims without impact to other relationships.
What's weird is like people talk about how the world has gotten more complicated, and certainly it has with technology, but we make the world more complicated than it needs to be in our personal lives.
Well, what does this have to do with Sims?
I'm just saying, like, you know, like a good, solid, monogamous relationship is enough work and difficult enough to achieve as it is, you know, takes work. I don't know if polyamory is really the way you want to complicate your life. That's all I'm saying.
I mean, if you go on any of the forums talking about polyamory, it's just a bunch of people coping about how it makes them feel worthless.
Also, this should require you to be fat and disgusting if they want true representation, because there are no attractive polyamorous couples in the real world.
So you can only date fat Sims.
Actually, I might be wrong about that. Okay, if I remember correctly, pro wrestler Rob Van Dam is like in a relationship with like two women, and I think they were both like, you know, wrestling women who were
When
attractive.
Was this?
Like in the last couple of years, yeah.
And he calls it that.
I don't know if he uses that term. But he definitely advertises that they were together. I remember like scrolling Instagram one day and being like, this is weird. Yeah. I could be misremembering that. Somebody fact check me.
It doesn't make sense to me because
Rob Van Dam rules. So
you don't need to call it anything. You can just say that, you know, you want to be promiscuous and own that instead of adding this stupid label.
I tell you all the time. I say that giving everything names isn't helpful.
Yeah, I mean, at least, you know, it's in a fictional world. So you don't have to hurt yourself or anybody else.
It'd be funny if you change the setting to polyamorous and your hair just turns blue. You can't not have blue hair.
Yeah, and didn't we talk about this back when the Sims gave you an ability to get an abortion in the game? Or am I misremembering that? And then they also started allowing you to choose transgender character
might have been that.
Designs.
I'm picturing there's like a picture of Clarence Thomas crossed out in the background while you're doing that, and
yeah, they're just not going down a good path.
Well, Sims is more for women, right? I don't know. Dudes don't play Sims, do they?
And, you know, the meme is that the polyamorous relationship is always the guy's idea until he realizes that he can't get any.
Of course. Right?
And then regrets it later.
Well, or no, it's a guy in a relationship with two women who don't exactly look like the type of woman you would want to be in a relationship with. Like, it's actually 4 women if you count the weight of the 2 women.
Well, usually you see that it's one woman who's fat and disgusting with like 5 soy boy boyfriends. But otherwise, it's like, let's open our marriage. And then the guy totally regrets the decision because he realizes that his wife is like getting way more action than him.
You'd think he would know that.
No.
Like that women are just going to have more access.
So always the grass is greener on the other side.
Exactly.
You always think like, oh no, I didn't think about all of the options I could have
I tell you that all the time.
Before.
I said, like, one of the biggest problems our society has right now is this constant feeling that you can always have or do just a little bit better or have a little bit more. And it's a really, really negative way to look at the world.
Yeah.
I get where the notion comes from. You know, a lot of people want to strive to reach greater heights, but that doesn't actually work in all aspects of your life. And certainly when it comes to your personal relationships, it's not about settling. It's about understanding that you're never going to meet the perfect person. That doesn't exist because we just have access to so many more people than we ever had in our lives that you set yourself up for failure when you're constantly assuming that you're going to be able to find or do just a little bit better. Makes no sense.
I think that if someone who advocates for polyamory were sitting with us right now, they would tell you, oh yeah,
Where's
I know
destiny?
I know that people aren't perfect, so that's why I date multiple people, so that I can get this aspect of a relationship that I want from this person and then this aspect from another person, when, you know, in reality, you're obviously just using people.
Yeah. Yeah.
It does not end well.
Yep. All right. Hawk Tuah girl. First of all, I saw that she does have representation now, and I saw
she's on a talent agency.
Yep, and I saw a really
Amazing.
funny thread where this guy who like has a show on Amazon or something was like bitching about how he can't get representation, but she has it. And I was like, ha ha, sucks to be you, bro.
The rise of the social media phenomenon.
The way of the world now. You guys wanted all the social media influencers to come to your irrelevant movie premieres, and this is the outcome that you get now. So this is her dashing the hopes of conservatives everywhere, unfortunately.
Yes.
Here we go.
I have a game that I want to play with you guys.
That makes me
It's
nervous.
not that scary, I promise. It's called Huck Tuah or Nah. And you tell me if you want to Huck Tuah on that thing or no.
Okay.
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 I think you might. Are you into like older guys?
For sure.
Okay.
Oh, for sure, she
Fuck,
says.
my phone's not loading. All right, you ready? Come on. Oh, just a Huck?
I'll give him a hawk. I'll give him a hawk.
Okay, beautiful. There you go, Dave. You got a Huck. Donald Trump.
No, absolutely not.
No.
It's a no from me.
Okay, it's no.
That's too bad.
She just disavowed Trump.
She
She said
did.
she would not hawk Tuah on Donald Trump's thing.
I do want to push back on the people who are saying that destroys 90% of her fan base. That's not true because she's about as normie as a meme can get now.
Well, people are saying that like conservatism is going more mainstream because the Hawk Tuah girl was at a Zach Bryan concert, and
That's just country music. Chicks love country music.
is like vaguely Republican.
I guess, but women love country music. And I was just reading they were posting those stats again that say that 68% of unmarried women vote Democrat. Well, I'm guessing there's a lot of unmarried women at these concerts. So those
Fair
numbers,
enough.
the math ain't mathing.
Yeah, but she's now let everyone know that she is not a fan of Donald Trump.
Oh, darn. Whatever will they do?
I don't know why
if
we
you're-
ever needed to know anything about Hawk Tuah girl's political views or personal life at all. But
She made quite a bit of money off the hat merch. She did merchandise well right off the bat. She did do
Yeah.
that. So she may not have taken the month off that Tiffany Gomez did, but she did like immediately start merchandising.
I just don't see this having as like long legs as the plain lady.
We'll have to
meme.
wait and see.
And
We'll have
then
to wait and see.
another interesting headline: Waka Flocka Flame kicks Biden voters out of his concert.
I want my Joe Biden voters to get out. Freedom! motherfucking presidency 24, man. It's a motherfucking party. What's up?
I don't want rappers to have opinions on politics.
He said, all the Joe Biden voters get out. We gonna party right now for Trump 24.
I guess, whatever. I just...
Is this gonna like alienate a lot of his fans? Or
I
like,
thought
what
he'd been
is-
like this for a while. Look, I just think that they should all look to be politically homeless.
By the way, I know this is totally irrelevant, but Dom Lucra changed his profile picture to some white guy. He like...
Who is it?
I don't know. It's like, I think he put his face through a race swap filter and made his profile picture a white guy.
Love Dom Lucra.
Okay.
We need to get Dom Lucra on the show.
Breaking. Developing.
I don't know if we're not a big enough podcast to get Dom Lucra on, but I want to get Dom.
No,
Lucra
I think
on.
we should.
We got to get.
I think we should.
Have you sent him a message? We should send
think
him
I
another.
have.
I'll have to send him another message.
Yeah,
All
for
right.
sure.
All right. We're gonna talk about the Dallas Cowboys cheerleaders.
Yeah.
Finally, some good news.
Evie recently did an article about the pay rates for Dallas Cowboys cheerleaders, saying they make as much as a full-time Chick-fil-A employee, according to one of their former members.
Yeah. Yeah.
You said $500 a game.
500, and they get paid for practices and stuff like that.
We got a 20 from Brandon Harris. All she said is that she doesn't want to spit on his thing. That doesn't indicate how she's voting.
You are correct.
But I would assume that there was some implication.
I remember seeing like an interview where like porn stars were talking about Trump versus DeSantis, and I was like, why is this a thing?
Yeah.
Why is this a thing?
But,
just like rappers, you don't need to have like, you're ruining it for everyone. Just,
It's kind of, yeah, it's no fun when
it's
you
not.
have to. It's just, you're a rapper. No one cares about who you're voting
Well,
for.
no, I'm sure that there are people are certainly. Here's the thing: the people that do are the ones that are going to want to use you politically,
Right.
left or right.
Right.
And that's not really helpful to the fan base, right?
Right.
Like it's different if you're already working in the political space, but if you've worked hard to cultivate an audience around something that has nothing to do with politics, then it just seems like a surefire way to immediately have your audience. And I know that that's a very, very smooth brain take that you hear all the time, that, the reason why we don't want actors, a lot of people don't want actors to talk about their politics is it's bad for their rates and their brand. They don't want to, you cut your audience in half. That's never been a problem for me. I can watch a movie with an actor with lame political takes all the time. Certainly, I have no problem watching Chris Evans in a movie, even though I think the dude's a dweeb. Fine.
Yeah.
Whatever. But if you're the artist, like, all I see it as is like creating an uphill battle for yourself that doesn't need to be there unless there's an unbelievable upside to it.
Well, Waka Flocka has made his money already. Like, he doesn't need to worry about losing fans.
Yeah. Okay,
Anyway,
so
but
cheerleaders.
The Dallas Cowboys are receiving backlash because allegedly they underpay their cheerleaders. And you pointed out that obviously the players have a starting salary.
There's a
of,
minimum salary of like $790 something thousand. I was like, well,
Yeah.
guess what? The game doesn't happen if there aren't any players.
Right, exactly. And someone else pointed out that obviously these cheerleaders are kind of more so paid for in exposure.
Well, and they have other
get
jobs.
to-
Most of them have jobs already. Like this is
Right.
something they pursue as a passion project for themselves.
One person commented, they're in proximity to multi-millionaires who they're likely to end up marrying.
$795,000 is the minimum rookie salary in the NFL.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so I would like to know, like, what is the, like, so if we're saying that $32,937 isn't the accurate salary, like, they could ask for more collective bargaining.
Well, this
agreements?
is coming out because Netflix released a documentary about
Yeah.
the Dallas Cowboys cheerleaders, and this person tweeted about it and said, I hope the end result is these women getting paid properly, and I hope they're
What
getting
is
paid
proper?
for this documentary.
What is proper?
Yeah.
Like, what does that mean in this
Yeah.
context? Like,
If there are only 16 games a year, like, why should that be your full-time job? That doesn't make sense to me.
so, like, the idea would be that you spin it off into a career, and I guess you could be like most of these women could very easily be social media influencers if they want to be.
So one of the former cheerleaders said, I would say I'm making like a substitute teacher, a Chick-fil-A worker who works full time, which would be an annual salary of about $32,000.
And they've got a cap of like 5 to 6 years that they say like 30, like once you get into your 30s, you're old, you're at the end of your career as a cheerleader.
They're not interested in continuing their career as a cheerleader after 30 anyway.
Correct.
I just don't see how this is some kind of moral outrage.
Because they have to find it wherever they go, right? They see somebody that's something that's famous. Now, I will say that though I don't agree, it's kind of like the minimum wage argument. Like what is a fair minimum wage? Charlotte Jones's defense of the low pay is hilarious.
What?
Okay, so it says on Friday, Charlotte Jones, the executive vice president and chief brand officer of the Dallas Cowboys football club, responded to the backlash, asserting that the women don't audition for money. She claims that the cheerleaders do it for sisterhood and for the passion of dance. This is something that people in all sorts of industries do. Certainly this was a thing in skating where, it's about the honor for riding for a famous brand, not for making money. But unless you can show a value, like on a value sheet, that your worth to the company brings in this much money.
Well, this is like when Megan Rapinoe was crying about how women's soccer players don't make as much money as the male soccer players, and people talking about the WNBA. Yeah, it's just, you're not the reason people are going to the games anyway.
There's a lot of cynicism around
It's nice that they're there.
Yes, it is. There's a lot of cynicism around the pay for NFL cheerleaders, as there should be, she told the Dallas Morning News. They're not paid a lot, but the facts are that they actually don't come here for the money. They come here for something that's actually bigger to them than that. And they point out, they're like, well, that's easy to say when your net worth is $100 million.
Whatever. I'm sure that they all do other jobs. I'm sure that they're doing just fine.
Yep.
How can you be talking about the Dallas Cowboys cheerleaders
also
when there is a femicide going on in the Congo?
Also, it is fair to point out that the Dallas Cowboys cheerleaders are the elite level pay of cheerleaders. They also draw comparisons to their mascot, who makes $65,000 a year. It's kind of like when they bring up the mascot for the Denver Nuggets makes more than every player in the WNBA.
And more than any other mascot.
Yes.
Right? But I would say that the mascot is more important than the cheerleaders, actually.
It depends on who you ask, right? A lot of people would probably say so. Mascots certainly have a cult following all their own.
Yeah. Well, there's another controversy about female athletes going on right now, and we need to talk about it.
Yes.
Because there is a new campaign launched by a lingerie brand called StrongIsBeautiful, where they have hired a team of female rugby players to model their lingerie while playing rugby together. And this is a way that they have said they want to encourage teenage girls to get into sports. Because they cited the statistic that 64% of girls over the age of 13 drop out of sports due to body image issues, a statistic derived from Women in Sports research. So they use this to launch their campaign. Let's take a look at some of the images here. This is the rugby team out on the field in underwear, because it's very empowering. It's very empowering. And here's what they said. We want to celebrate and normalize the beauty of strong and powerful female bodies. Bodies that have historically been ignored by the fashion industry and stigmatized by society. Our #StrongIsBeautiful campaign was born out of the fact that girls give up sports more readily than boys, partly because society does not equate the look of a strong female body with being beautiful or feminine. If young women do not equate strength with feminine beauty, it's a problem that goes far beyond sports.
There are like multiple MMA women who have very successful OnlyFans, so press X to doubt.
Well, I mean, unfortunately, they were trying to appeal to feminists with this campaign, but the feminists didn't take to it.
If I have to choose between fat is beautiful and strong is beautiful, I'm taking strong is beautiful every time.
Right, but I would say, it's not considered conventionally attractive for women to be buff and jacked and huge. That's just never going to be considered the beauty standard.
That's just more of the culture, our culture's decision to always try to take what society just at a base level doesn't consider traditionally attractive and force it through. Certainly that doesn't mean that it's not to some people. There are plenty of people who would understand that the term muscle mommy is a thing for a reason. and would be perfectly happy with looking at this, but they can't just accept that niche is niche.
So here were some of the responses from feminists who were very offended by the campaign. One said, "This is a terrible move. This is exactly what young girls do not need to see. Instead of empowering women in sports, we once again see this profit the male gaze and continue the objectification and sexualization of the female body. Young girls are dropping out of sports early. Concerns over body image and appearance are one of the reasons. So well done bringing the focus back to the body. How about remove the appearance lens altogether?"
You have to turn it around on them. They say, well, no, that's not why you tell me that you dress this way. You tell me that you do it for yourself.
Another one said, "This is terrible. This is so wrong for girls. As a martial artist, school owner, and female, this is totally the wrong campaign. You have put women in their underwear to show girls they can be feminine and beautiful. The association of the word beautiful as a reason to get into sports is absolutely feeding into the problem we have with girls doing sports. You've also wrongly mentioned that women in sports are part of this, which they've publicly said they are not, and totally disagree with all of it." That's the organization that
the
studied
group Women in
the
Sports, okay.
phenomenon of girls dropping out of sports. I mean, also, I think the biggest reason why girls over 13 would drop out of sports is because they can't get lucrative careers out of continuing.
Look, that's not everybody who plays sports into high school does so thinking, ever expecting to go pro.
Sure, but that's just the fact of the matter is male athletes are much more likely than female athletes to
Now, if you want to make that comparison
doing it
about
professionally.
Scholarships, that
Sure.
might be there's
Sure.
still plenty of scholarships and stuff like that.
But as long as we're
There's-
talking about like the professional level, but I guess that feminists just think that this is further objectifying women. Another one said, "My issue with..."
Nick C says, wrong, women have tons of scholarships available. No, that's what I'm saying. I'm saying that there are tons of scholarships available.
Right.
But there are not as many professional opportunities. As
Right,
there
which
are.
is where the complaints
Correct.
from people like Megan Rapinoe come in.
And also, I was going to
complaints
point
about
out
the WNBA.
I was going to point out, and that also depends on the industry and whether we're talking about biological males competing in women's sports, which is becoming more and more
Right.
prevalent.
I know, like my bare minimum thought about this campaign was like, wow, at least they're women.
Yep.
But
Look,
another
this
one
reminded
said,
me of something that's very 90s. Honestly,
You think?
this whole thing is very
the,
90s. It's very early 2000s. I was actually kind of shocked by
all of
it.
the like campaigns for like tampons that are like throw like a girl or whatever. Like that's a very 2015
Yes, it
feminist
is.
talking point. But yeah, another criticism said, "My issue with the Strong is Beautiful campaign is we are still telling women that being beautiful is the most important thing, then trying to widen the definition of beautiful so it applies more. Wouldn't it be better to celebrate strong because it's strong?" But here's the thing. It's objectively more important for women to be beautiful than strong. Is that like really offensive to say
In
that?
modern
Like,
culture, yes, that would
but
be
that's just
considered
never
offensive to say.
that's never going to change. And I'm not saying it shouldn't be celebrated for women to accomplish things in sports, but it's more important for women to care about being beautiful than being physically strong.
You're never going to get a mainstream take that says that these days because it correlates too much to attraction to men.
Right. And it's like, this reminded me of when Victoria's Secret hired Megan Rapinoe to model their lingerie. And it was, you know, them deciding we're going to show women what women want. So here are those horrible photos of Megan Rapinoe modeling for Victoria's Secret because, you know, we have to break glass ceilings. And then I also saw another video kind of related to this, a bunch of female athletes, and there was some discourse about whether men find this attractive. Definitely there are some men that do, but if we're talking about what is conventionally attractive, no. Like, I mean, look at Victoria's Secret models from the 2000s if you want to know what is attractive to men. They're super tall, lean women with big boobs. Or at least that's how it was in the 2000s. Yeah. But this person claimed, y'all claim you want D1 babies but scoff at D1 mamas. If these women are that repulsive to you, maybe calling other men gay is throwing stones in glass houses. Your sons will not be able to open their own pickle jars and you'll have only yourselves to blame.
Okay.
I don't think it's gay to find muscular women attractive. It's just not the norm.
Yes, that's a pretty consistent take that people say. Is like, that makes no sense. It's just a specific body type that appeals to specific people. Yeah. Certainly men who actually keep themselves in shape and work out more would probably lean more towards it. And a dude who's soft is going to be like, no, not so much, because he doesn't want a girlfriend who can turn him upside down and shake him out for change.
And by the way, I mean, I think this campaign would not have gotten any hate if it were focused on obese women.
Of course not. No, not at all.
But because they decided to focus on women
because
who actually
even kind of appeals to a specific type of man rather than obesity, which doesn't appeal to any men.
Right. We were talking about like feminist frigidity.
Yeah.
Before we were on air.
I was explaining that's still a very real thing. So all of it is framed through the lens of what is appealing to men. So it's okay to show beautiful women if it's the 90s. Now, anytime you do that, it's kind of like on the episode of The Acolyte last night. You get to see Darth Gimp mask with no clothes on because that's appealing to women, which is weird because the show is made by Leslie Headland, who is gay.
Right.
So you'd think that they would be appealing to women through that, but feminism runs headlong into the fact that she's gay, and the feminism wins out.
So she's catering to a very specific female gaze.
Yes.
That is
Correct.
vaguely.
There's going to be no shot of May or Osha that's shown as a thirst trap. That will never happen.
Right.
It's not allowed.
So I guess that's why people felt so offended by this. They felt it was in poor taste because
it appeals to men.
Certain
men, even just
specific subset of men might find muscular women attractive. Therefore, we cannot show them as beautiful.
And to this in further down the corner in the arts is the discussion about the uglification of women in games and art and things like that. All of these things, anything that appeals to men, anything that is traditionally beautiful by Western standards must be torn down and stigmatized for the sake of the revolution.
Which is funny because the women in this campaign strongly resemble a physique like Abby from The Last of Us, which was roundly criticized.
The Marxists will have none of it. So.
Yeah.
All right. What would you like to see first? Cringe or cute of the day?
Let's look at cute first.
All right, we can do that. I think I moved one up, so let me double check here. I think I did. Yes. I think yes, because this one I didn't get this one until after the show yesterday. It says, turns out Brett Dasovic shares a birthday with my cat Molly.
Aww,
well, cute. Molly doesn't look happy that it's her birthday.
Very fluffy.
That one it looks very not regal, but kind of standoffish. Yeah. Like it's like watching somebody who doesn't like pass by.
Happy belated birthday, Molly.
Have a happy birthday, Molly.
Yes.
And let's do one more here. This one is the cutest little nugget you will ever see. And it might just be.
Cute.
I knew this one would kill Mary.
It's 1 gram of protein.
It is. All right. Let's look at cringe of the day. And the cringe of the day is bad today, ladies and gentlemen. The first one.
Oh, you watched it already?
Unfortunately, I did see it scrolling.
Wait, okay, but it's worse.
Oh no, I've only seen like the first 15 seconds. So here we go, guys.
Initiate Aaron. Approach. Kneel.
This is a Disney adult knighting ceremony.
By the right of council, by the will of the Force, I name you Jedi Apprentice. Rise and speak your name.
Rilo Storm Chaser.
Rilo Storm Chaser!
Woo! All right.
Is this where you say men used to go to war?
Yeah. Now they do Jedi knighting ceremonies.
They're literally on their way to Swingers
Park.
on Main.
Well, I hope not, because there's a child there. But what is going on? Like, what is the context here?
Ugh.
I don't know. I don't know if I want to know. The Disney adults must be stopped.
Yeah.
They must be stopped.
Halls and the Kid says there's something about adults playing make-believe that's incredibly repulsive.
Yeah.
And Chris Burton
These are the
says,
people keeping Disney afloat.
Chris Burton says, "Why won't women sleep with me?" That's his question there. All right, and you had one more here. You said this one is time-stamped?
Oh, yeah.
All right, here we go.
This is HRH talking about why she
end
hates
up-
the 4th.
I end up being an out-of-body experience person who goes places and doesn't act like myself at all and is very nice. And oh my God, the food is so good. Oh, I love these. Oh, ketchup and mustard? Sure, thanks. Relish and a hot dog. Amazing. Where'd you get these hot dogs? Oh, they're so good. Do you see what I mean? I don't want to do it. I'm crying. I don't want to do it. I promise you guys think I'm crazy. I don't want to go to any of this shit. I want to be left alone. I want to be left alone. I want to have a couple of friends come over, which I don't have any. I want to have a couple of friends come over and I want to make a bougie little party. That's what I want to do. I really want to do that. And I would love to do that. But the thing is, you have to know when to leave too. I do have some friends who like I couldn't
Sorry,
invite
this
over,
just
but
the rest of it is just a
we're not
rant
really
about
friends.
So she doesn't
July
like the
4th.
4th.
Yeah, it was causing her a
Existential
bit of
crisis?
An existential crisis.
Okay. All right. Well, let's get started then, shall we? Now that we're making good time. We're 42 minutes into the show. Let's talk about Assassin's Creed.
Yeah, the controversy about Yasuke in the new Assassin's Creed game continues. And now a petition has been started by Japanese gamers who are completely opposed to Ubisoft, and they want to cancel Assassin's Creed Shadows. They accuse the game of being a serious insult to Japanese culture and history.
It is fair to point out that it's a petition, and change.org petitions are about as effective as, I don't know, something that's not effective.
Something that's not effective, yes.
Yeah.
Well,
as that attempted a joke.
a change.org petition has never actually changed anything.
No.
We already know that. But I wanted to read from the Japanese translation of what they said in this petition. Bounding into Comics did us the courtesy of translating
Thank
it
you for that.
us. But it says, recently a serious issue of historical accuracy and lack of cultural respect has been raised about game developer Ubisoft's upcoming release, Assassin's Creed Shadows. The game is based on the subject of Japanese samurai and ignores the fact that samurai are a higher class of samurai and should be gokemono, or servants of nobility. In fact, the first European to receive the title of samurai, William Adams, was a bannerman with 250 koku.
Yep.
It's a Japanese unit of measurement. Throughout this history, Ubisoft continues to misunderstand the nature and role of the samurai. This is a serious insult to Japanese culture and history and could lead to Asian racism. We demand that Ubisoft immediately stop the release of Assassin's Creed Shadows and show serious investigation and respect for Japanese history and culture. Your signature is needed. Sign this petition to let Ubisoft know the importance of cultural respect and historical accuracy. And another thing it called for is, at least if they don't cancel the game entirely, which of course they're not going to do, they should at least not advertise it as being historically
yes.
accurate. They
That's
should
my issue.
very clearly disclaim it and say that this is based on, a fictionalized account.
Fictionalized account doesn't bother me, but when people start changing Wikipedia pages to match a narrative, you're effectively attempting to change the real world to fit a weird modern narrative that's just weirdly socio-political, and that's just dystopian.
One of the comments said, if it's fiction, I can forgive it. However, we absolutely cannot tolerate falsehoods as faithful to historical fact. And Yasuke was a great black samurai. If left unchecked and believed to be historical fact, the Japanese will be seen as trying to hide the fact that blacks were such great samurai, and it will become a story that the Japanese are discriminating against blacks. It is obvious, in fact, the overseas internet is already showing this trend. This is a falsification of Japanese history, an insult to the Japanese people, and clear discrimination against them.
It is true that it only takes 1 or 2 generations of the falsehood promulgating before the narrative starts to shift, and there's nobody left to remember what it was before these lies were shared.
Well, I think it's pretty obvious that white Westerners, specifically Americans who were involved in making this game, are the ones who are obsessed with the idea
Yes.
of a black man being a samurai, which we're not going to get into all of the weeds about whether or not this is historical fact, although we did that on another episode. It's obviously being fabricated to fit a narrative that makes white Western people feel comfortable, that they can pat themselves on the back for a representation win. Because weirdly, Asian people are not seen as diverse enough. They're not seen as, that much of a minority in the eyes of white Western people. I even just saw a recent scandal because an Asian student who applied to Harvard was reportedly passed up because of his Asian heritage.
I saw that.
He said, I had perfect test scores. I had all the extracurriculars, everything going for me. They didn't let me in because I'm not diverse enough. So I think that makes it pretty clear that, there's a cultural bias involved.
The threads on that were so depressing. It was a bunch of people basically telling this person he's a bad guy for simping for white culture.
Right.
And he's like...
They're like, you should stop trying to be a model minority.
Yeah.
That's what they tell him.
And he's like, nothing he said was about that. All he said was, my test scores were good. I did everything right. And I still didn't get what should have come to me.
Yeah. So I think that makes it pretty obvious that there is a cultural bias from specifically the Americans who were involved in writing this game and designing it, because they're the ones who want to see this. I don't think that people in Japan particularly care about seeming woke.
Yeah.
Because they live in a racially homogenous society.
It is a very Western thing to deal with right now. That's not going to be something that you're going to experience in a lot of other cultures that are, that aren't as multicultural as America is.
But currently the petition is sitting at 41,000 signatures out of the 50,000 goal.
Yeah.
So it's getting a lot of attention.
And it does connect a little bit to what's going on with Denzel Washington over there. Obviously, Gladiator 2 is coming out soon, so there's a media push for the film going on right now. And there was these first images that were released of Denzel Washington. He plays a character named Macrinus. I believe that Macrinus is,
yes.
I'm assuming is how you pronounce it. Now, there was a Roman emperor with that name, but that does not appear to be who he's playing based on the description they gave of the character, which says, he is a very wealthy man, says director Ridley Scott. He's beautiful. He drives a golden Ferrari, and I got him a gold-plated chariot. And they describe him as a power broker. Mm-hmm. So he's not given the title of emperor. And look,
it's not based on an actual historical figure, so you kind of get free reign to do whatever you want.
And I think it's kind of what I always say, right? If there is no appeal to the youth, this will get a lot less traction. Like, we certainly talked about Anne Boleyn like once on here, but it's not like that. And it's not like that. And the Cleopatra stories didn't just disappear as soon as they came. Right. When it's something that doesn't necessarily appeal to kids, they'll just leave it be and it goes, because it's like the fight for the soul of the next generation, right? You want to tell historically accurate, a certain group wants to tell historically accurate stories because that's what's fair, and the rest see it as politically expedient to change and then use creative license as a reason to change things, because they know you change it enough times throughout history, and certainly people will start to believe that your race swap changes are the truth. It's not what it is. So
this says, while many fans were excited to finally see photos of the film and speculate how it might compare to the original Gladiator, there were those who couldn't handle a world where a black man amassed so much power in the Roman Empire. Yeah. One tweet seems to be particularly upset about this character, writing, when they swap a fictional white character, their excuse is it's just fiction, not real. When they swap a historical white person, their excuse is it's just acting. They want to erase white people from history and corrupt our history. Another user can't fathom the idea of black people in other historical periods, writing, Roman era blacks? Yeah. This is just like their wet dream for the rage bait response that they wanted.
Yes.
But at the same time, it's Denzel Washington, and of course you want him in your movie regardless of whether it's historically accurate.
Correct.
That's going to get a pass no matter what you do with him.
Yep.
Even if he were playing somebody who was actually a historical figure.
It says, I read this one, it says, racists and bigots are going to lose their collective shit over this one. The internationally unread will not have learned that Rome had black emperors emperors. They will pay no attention to the scores of white actors who have played a person of color, and that no one cared which shows. And then he goes on. The point is race swapping has gone both ways tremendously. We all know that these days it goes mostly one way. So they're being a little bit picky and choosy about how they show their narrative here. Again, Denzel is Denzel. He's going to get a pass.
I mean, the real problem is that nobody cares to watch Gladiator 2.
Yes.
What, 20 years?
The real question is why did they
original?
make Gladiator 2 at all?
Yeah.
Right?
But maybe they need this to get attention on the project. Maybe they're just drumming up controversy for the sake of it because people aren't interested.
I did like this one part that they mentioned in this art. It was from The Root, where they talk about the idea of how it is a bit ridiculous at the idea of Ridley Scott being what they call woke. That's their words, not mine.
Okay.
Don't blame me. I did not use that language there. Let me see if I can find this here. It was really funny. See if I can go back here to The Root. There's the article.
Also, one person claimed that this character is a former slave who turned into a wealthy Roman citizen out for revenge. I don't know if that's actually true. It didn't say that in any of the articles.
But it could be true, but I have no idea.
But that seems like a very American story
Doesn't it, though?
to write about the Roman Empire.
So it says, what makes the drummed up controversy even more ridiculous is the idea that Ridley Scott, of all people, is trying to be woke. The 86-year-old filmmaker isn't exactly known for including a lot of people of color in his projects. That's their words. In fact, he was questioned about casting mostly white actors for his 2014 biblical epic, Exodus, Gods and Kings, and he famously told Variety, "I can't mount a film of this budget where I have to rely on tax rebates in Spain and say that my lead actor is Mohammed, so on and so from such and such. I'm just going to go get it financed, so the question doesn't even come up." Well, we are in a very different world than we were in 2014. So that's not really a fair argument.
Okay, so someone did confirm that that character is a former slave. This says, before the woke comments start flooding in, although Denzel Washington isn't playing the main character, what is known about his role is very exciting. His character is playing a former slave who wants to use gladiators to take down the emperors, with him acting as a mentor figure to Paul Mescal's Lucius. It also seems that Denzel Washington's quest for revenge in Gladiator 2 was inspired by a character from the original film, Maximus. Much like Washington's character aspires to be, Maximus was a slave who revolted against the emperor. This shows how Maximus will live on in the heart of Denzel Washington's character.
It's funny, too, because they say that about Ridley Scott. Well, Ridley Scott worked with Denzel Washington and Russell Crowe in one of my favorite movies of all time, which is American Gangster. So I don't know what they're talking about with casting, but that's just how this article frames it.
Is he going to be enough of a draw for people to care about this movie?
I don't know if anything is a big enough draw for people to say, like, Gladiator 2 in the year 2024. We'll have to, I mean, who knows? We could be surprised by it. Like, maybe all the boomers have been saving up their energy to go to see this movie this year.
And Russell Crowe is just too old and fat now.
Not in shape enough anymore, unfortunately. Exactly. All right. Let's go to Super Chats.
Shane H. Wilder said, "Happy Wednesday, Brett and Mary. Apparently, Cup Noodle just released a s'mores cup noodle, so do with that what you will."
I saw that. It's disgusting looking.
But what does that even mean? There are marshmallows in it?
I don't know if it just tastes like that.
That's disgusting.
It's disgusting.
Pat the Plumber said, "I'm early today. Didn't want to miss Brett's birthday." Well, Brett's birthday is over.
But thank you.
I think you're about 24 hours late.
But still, thank you. We appreciate it.
Shane H. Wilder said, "Pat the Plumber, good job, buddy. You remembered."
And do two more.
Pat the Plumber said, "Brett's so juiced up, his head's growing."
Says what? Oh, no.
I don't know.
No, this hat shrunk because I washed it once and...
Oh, you throw your hats in the washing machine?
I have a thing you put on it to keep it from... I used to hand wash all of them. It gets, depending on if it's like one I skate in or not, they get dirtier, so you just put it in the dishwasher. Yeah. And it's got like a skeleton that you put it in to keep it from
You
ruining
said
their
you were
shape.
not feeling frivolous enough today.
Correct. Yes, there is no frivolity in the air today.
Sarenko Productions said, "Don't worry, Mary. Literally nothing happened except Target Ezra Miller stripping while OSHA peeped, and Soul took all episode to realize OSHA was May."
It was like 3/4 of the episode, and it's bad.
Even though he is a Jedi Master. And
Here is OSHA when she's terrified. Here is OSHA when she sees naked Darth Gimp mask.
Is OSHA supposed to be attracted to him?
I have no
or
idea because she doesn't
she was
show
just
any
watching
facial
him
expressions.
strip for no reason.
She then like goes and takes his lightsaber, and he knows she's there, but he lets her take it anyways. He's not. Look, I like Manny Jacinto in this show. Otherwise, as an attempted corrupter of a person, he leaves much to be desired.
So does this mean like May is a good guy now, and then OSHA is going to turn around and become evil?
I don't know if that's exactly what they're going for, but certainly by the end of the episode, OSHA has been listening to Darth Gimp Mask's excuses for why why the dark side and the Jedi aren't all that different. It all comes down to semantic arguments, and by the end of the episode, Soul, spoiler alert, takes out OSHA and then straps her to a table and then immediately destroys all tension by saying, "I'm not going to hurt you, May," and then says, "We're going to talk," and then the fades to black or whatever.
Lame.
It's very lame.
Shane H. Wilder said...
We don't need to do a review. We just did a review. We'll just post that.
Yeah. Shane H. Wilder said, "PCC is the West Coast Avengers to IRL's Avengers." What does that mean?
At least we're not the young Avengers.
Who are the West
It's-
Coast
it's
Avengers?
The West Coast. Look, we're B-list Avengers. That's okay.
I've never heard of
We're
that.
B-list Avengers. That's okay.
That's fine. Forceful... Okay, I'm not going to say that.
Let's hold off on the rest and come back after
Okay.
the fact. Let's move on.
All right.
MrBeast.
Looks like there's a family feud of sorts going on in the
Beast family?
MrBeast extended universe. Obviously, there's like kind of a cast of characters that is recurring on the MrBeast channel. And I didn't know about this one. One of MrBeast's friends, Chandler Hallow is what he goes by online.
Imagine being named after a Friends character.
You don't know that, but
Yes.
the timing works.
Yes.
The timing makes sense.
You do.
Chandler started doing daily Bible verse readings and mini Bible studies on his TikTok recently. And people are contrasting him with the antics of now transitioned she/her Ava Chris Tyson, who also is a recurring sidekick on MrBeast's channel. He is being framed as the wholesome one, and Chris Tyson is the problem child. So I saw someone say, "Chris from MrBeast abandons his wife and child to pretend he's a woman. Chandler from MrBeast becomes a Christian and does Bible studies on TikTok. Which way, Western man?"
See, what I like the idea of is like they're sitting in the MrBeast break room, and Chris Tyson is over here doing whatever Tyson does, and he's over here reading the Bible.
Shall we take a look at one of his mini Bible studies?
The one in the Smash.
Yeah.
Okay, hold on. Let's go here.
Today's reading is from Matthew chapter 8.
If you could get the flies out of the
He's gonna have to hook up with Alan Richson to do.
He needs a
Bible reading.
Hallow sponsorship. His last name is literally Hallow.
There we go.
Verse 8 and 9. And if your hand or your foot causes you to sin, cut it off and throw it away. It is better for you to enter life crippled or lame than with 2 hands or 2 feet to be thrown into the eternal fire. And if your eyes causes you to sin, tear it out and throw it away. It is better for you to enter life with 1 eye than with 2 eyes to be thrown into the hell of fire. It's a pretty scary verse to some, but don't be scared. So, because God will help you with your temptation. So,
It's very wholesome.
for example, like when I was, first getting saved, I was listening to all kinds of music, like all kinds of music, and God was starting to tell me to just stop listening to all kinds of music.
Wonder if
other
a
than
youth
worship
pastor
music
helped
for
him.
him. And because it was just making me think different things, like, and it wasn't helping me in my walk with Christ, listening to music that had cursing and just other things, talking about murder or whatever. So it was just messing, like, it was making me think a certain way, you know, the type of music I was listening to.
So he's the TikTok youth pastor.
He is look, it's so weird. I don't know if it's because I work with you, but I end up getting sent a lot of, like, not by people, but like my algorithm. My algorithm, it's like youth pastor humor or like church humor and stuff from people like that are satire and stuff like that.
Church culture.
Yes.
Which usually I can't relate to because it's about mega churches.
Yeah,
but I get it. It's funny.
Yeah.
You know, it's playful ribbon.
I do laugh, and I try to always send you, and sometimes I forget, anything that involves church, like religious rap.
Yeah.
It's hilarious.
It's not good.
Hilarious.
I mean, if it's done like earnestly, it's usually bad. If it's satire, I'm willing to watch it. But another person tweeted about this, saying MrBeast has 2 biologically male friends. One abandoned his son and his wife so he could pursue his dream of dressing up like a woman and an anime character. The other decided to read Bible verses daily on TikTok. Guess which one receives more hate? Now, I don't know if Chandler has received any
I'm sure he does.
hate for the fact that he does this on TikTok. I'm sure that he's gotten some negativity. But objectively speaking, it's probably Chris Tyson who gets more hate, given that we have talked about him on multiple occasions. And there's been a huge controversy about him transitioning visibly and talking about it publicly while still being included in MrBeast's content, which is mainly catered to children. That is, I think that Chris Tyson has gotten more hate. But I see one as being a much better role model for MrBeast's fan base than the other.
He needs to maybe work on his delivery a little bit. I think he could get a little bit more oomph out of his performance, and he'll reach more people.
He needs to study some Mark Wahlberg videos.
Yep.
Maybe some Jonathan Rumi videos. But otherwise, his heart is in the right place. He has good intentions. And you know, I think that MrBeast is just trying to have his cake and eat it too. Because he's always going to be asked to answer for his friends and their opinions and their public life and their decisions. And he has chosen to come out swinging for Chris Tyson, defending his friend.
I don't know if making a single tweet about it is coming out swinging.
No, I mean, he has
like
definitely publicly supported the transition, publicly calls Chris Tyson by preferred pronouns and the preferred new name and everything like that. I mean, he could have chosen to stay silent, but his silence would have been interpreted as opposition. Exactly. So he felt like he had to speak out.
They put him into the worst possible position they could put somebody who's as broad of a brand as MrBeast is.
But at the same time, if it were all equal, why doesn't he come out and support his other friend when he gets negativity for talking about his Christian faith publicly?
Well, I mean, does that happen?
You know?
Like, I'd like to, if that happens, then yeah.
Bet that 100% Chandler gets negative comments from people about how he's pushing religion down everyone's throats.
But wouldn't
look,
be as...
Chris Tyson is also pushing a religion. Yeah. It's just not called a religion.
But I'm guessing that there's the Chris Tyson story is far more newsworthy.
Of course, yeah. And I think that the criticism was totally fair, considering that this is a channel that is mainly watched by children.
It's also interesting because MrBeast is now getting crap again for building homes in other countries because they don't want him to. They're like, here, help people, but don't help this way. Help this way.
Don't be a white savior.
Yeah.
They were they were mad at him because he's not providing housing for Americans.
Can you imagine the amount of red tape and bureaucracy if he tried to do that here in America? It would be impossible.
Yeah.
It would be a bunch of government bureaucrats lining their pockets, and it wouldn't work.
He's kind of going to get hate no matter what he does. But I do think that he deserved pushback for the things that he said publicly about Chris Tyson. I do. Because this is just the line that most people, most normies who were previously ignorant to gender ideology, this is the line that they have said, like, no, none of this stuff for kids. Like, we're not accepting any of this for children. and at least most normies can get on board with that idea.
Yeah.
But MrBeast, you know, has to cater to the mob, unfortunately.
Well, when
I
you
just
have,
think, like,
he's like what? He's now the most subscribed YouTube channel in the world, and that's going to invite a certain amount. There is no way to escape negativity when you're a channel of that size.
yeah, it's just like business comes first, you know, and you should not make it ideological. But I think that, like, Chris Tyson must have taken, you know, a Bible verse like that and thought, well, my wife and my family are preventing me from expressing myself. So I actually need to cut them off, and I need to do that so I can truly live my best life.
I mean, not even cutting him off because he's still involved in
Right.
in their lives, but that's another discussion, right? Like,
Right.
That was MrBeast's
It's just,
post.
we can't even talk honestly about issues like this. That's the most frustrating thing when these topics come up, is the suppression of what is so obviously true, which is that, you know, his child is the real victim of all of this. Not just, you know, losing your dad, essentially, but also being at the center of a discourse amongst millions of people on the internet who, you know, a lot of them have good points, but at the same time, like, you're going to be living with this for the rest of your life and everyone's going to forget.
In the chat, Squib says MrBeast turned on his faith to appease the mob. I don't know. Was MrBeast ever
Was he?
inherently religious? I've never read that, but that could be true, I guess. But I've never read that.
I guess that kind of makes sense, right? Because like, he's from Texas, right?
Okay.
I think he's talked about, like, growing up kind of in a Christian household.
Okay.
But I don't know a lot about his background.
I mean,
Honestly,
but a lot of people grow up in
shouldn't-
religious households that become just vaguely agnostic and just don't know what they feel. I mean, that's kind of me, right?
Yeah,
I grew up in not a religious household, but we went to church, and certainly my mom and my dad, like, my mom went to Catholic school and came from a religious household. And to me, it was never overtly pushed on me. We went to church. I got confirmation and all that stuff, or first communion and stuff like that. But it was never, you kind of have to feel that calling to it. And when you're somebody like MrBeast, people are going to expect you to not just have a calling to it, but to have strong feelings on it. And if he doesn't, then what does he do?
Here's the thing. I don't think MrBeast ever should have catered to this mob in the first place, because I don't think he needs to defend the decisions or the social media posts of any of his friends.
Yes.
Because that's a totally separate person and you're not responsible for them. But because he started that and he set the precedent that he's going to be, you know, fact-checking people and debunking all of the rumors in defense of Chris Tyson.
Yeah.
Now I say, you know, make it equal for everybody. Defend your other friend if they're getting backlash, but he's not going to do that. We
Well,
got
we'll
a
have to
20
wait and
from
see.
Rhaegar Targaryen. Some friends and I recorded a Jesus rap song on cassette tape on the Ice Cube I Push Rhymes Like Weight instrumental back when that was out. His Baptist pastor told us, "You boys should rap for Jesus. No remaining copy exists." Darn.
Damn!
I was going to want to hear that.
There's nothing wrong with rapping for Jesus.
There is sometimes something.
I love
wrong with it,
it's like if God had producer tags.
Oh, I hate it already.
Moses music.
I hate it already.
All right, let's go to Super Chats.
Okay, username I'm not gonna read said, "I was late for the birthday, Brett. So here's a late one. First time Super Chat, long time listener on Spotify while I work."
Thank you, and thank you for checking out on Spotify. We put the episode out every day, but you know, like, I always laugh at the idea, like, is there just like a whole separate group of people that just coalesce around the Spotify version that I've just never interacted with?
It's probably true. And if you're listening and you're one of the Spotify listeners,
go leave a 5-star review.
you need to leave us a 5-star
Get that
review.
rating up.
Or just any review.
No,
really.
5-star review only.
And you can write reviews for us on Apple Podcasts as well.
Correct.
Shane H. Wilder said, "White Boy Summer is the friends we made along the way. Dane will be so disillusioned. R.I.P. White Boy Summer. Long live Orange Boy Summer." It truly is Orange Boy Summer
I did
because
see those pictures of Biden looking mighty orange.
he's now another Cheeto man. They're kind of morphing into each other.
I kind of like it.
Yeah.
And Trump was looking very pale at the debate.
Maybe they're going to reverse skin tones. Sorenko Productions said, without impacting other relationships. Well, that's not realistic. LOL. The abortion thing was a mod, though. Used to play Sims before the trans update.
Okay.
Yikes.
Let's do 2 more.
Shane H. Wilder said, screw the Sims. I'm replaying Civilization 6, trying to get a religious win with a Catholic theocracy. Gandhi will never know what hit him. That's definitely like the male-brained version of The Sims, is Civilization.
Yep.
Tacti Platy said, saw a truck this morning with Hawk Tuah stickers. How is it caught on that fast?
They like already ordered them and got them. That's fast.
And what are you going to do when the meme is dead? How are you going to explain that to people?
Well, I mean, they'll say, look, memes are temporary. Hawk Tuah is forever.
Hawk Tuah in our hearts.
All right, let's hold off on the rest. Let's come back. It is time to explain to everybody what the hell sad fishing is.
Yeah, there are a lot of these conversations about Gen Z starting trends on social media, but then you look into it a little further and you realize that this has been a trend since millennials were the natives of the internet. And this time, it's a trend called sad fishing. They warn that this trend may be a sign of serious psychological issues. Basically, it's the same thing as vague booking, which
oh my gosh,
I was not aware of. But vague booking refers to content posted on Facebook or other platforms, written in a deliberately ambiguous and vague manner. Such content is not easily interpreted. If people in that social media network want to understand the communication,
they have to message you.
They have to engage with the poster. So you post something that's kind of emo.
My heart is broken.
Yeah, you post something kind of emo, and then you hope that someone will DM you and be like, "What's wrong, bro? You okay?" Vague booking has been a term for a very long time. I even saw a Reddit post, vague booking, r/ask women over 30. This says, I personally find it annoying when I ask the person what's going on and I get a vague, evasive answer back.
You know
if the person didn't want me to know their troubles, they should have used that menu on Facebook posts where you can control exactly who sees the post.
The point is there's a certain type of internet poster. It's most, right? There is a level of dopamine that comes with sharing your thoughts, especially when you're feeling emotionally tumultuous, and you get a release from posting it, but then you don't want all of the flack that comes from posting it.
Yeah.
It's like if the internet had post-nut clarity.
Well, the Gen Z version of this is posting like a black screen on your Instagram story and you say like, don't HMU. Or if you change your profile picture on Twitter to just black and you get rid of your screen name and you say like, don't message me.
I am of the opinion that the reason there is so much mental instability and emotional instability amongst millennials is due to all of the emo lyric away messages that your significant other would put up, and then you have to sit there and wonder if it's about you.
Or you would put you said you like put an emo song on your MySpace profile that's supposed to like send everyone a message that you're in the dumps.
But if you put up a sad song lyric away message, I dated a girl who did this all the time.
Tell us about your trauma.
Emotional terrorism. Every bit of it. Okay?
Well, was it ever based in reality, or was she just trying to get attention from other people? Was she trying to get you to like notice and respond to it?
She's a bit of an emotional terrorist. Yeah. So such is life.
Sad fishing is emotional terrorism. It says the habit of sad fishing is defined as, quote, the tendency of social media users to publish exaggerations of their personality to generate sympathy. It could also be crying in a TikTok or
that's okay. So this
trauma
is actually,
dumping.
What's weird about that is I feel like those are different things. Like when you post, like, okay, I'll tell personal stories, or at least somewhat personal stories here. Certainly I've gone into detail about things that have happened in my life, and somehow that feels less terrifying than putting it to text. There's something almost more final because it's harder to misinterpret what I'm saying
Sure.
We all know that the whole point of social media is that it's a deconstructionist machine, meaning that somebody can read the most detailed thing you've ever written and take away something completely aside from the point of whatever
I like
you were saying.
pancakes. I didn't know you hated waffles.
Exactly. Okay. So when I'm telling a story verbally, it's a lot harder to misinterpret, or at least not if you're acting in good faith. It's a lot
Sure.
harder to misinterpret.
But it's also, it's more ephemeral if you're
Yeah.
saying it on a live streamed podcast.
Yes.
And people can see your facial expressions
Yeah.
and understand the context of why you brought it up. But I think the point of Sadfishing is to get people to worry about you because you have like parasocial relationships on social media.
There have been times where I've typed out things that were bothering me, and I almost
And you just delete
I just
it?
delete it.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's kind of like they say, like, if you're angry, write a letter, wait a week to send it. Right?
Yeah, this is why, like, for the most part, I'm never going to get into back and forth exchanges with people who misinterpret things that I say on social media, because if they've misinterpreted it, either they weren't intending to, or they were intending to, and you're never going to reach common ground with them anyway.
Correct.
But research found that many sad fishers display anxious attachment. It concluded that this may not be triggered by an acute perceived lack of social support, but rather may be more strongly related to the persistent trait of anxious attachment. One psychologist stated, "This person is putting something that's kind of vague or sounds frankly a little ominous or something sad that it basically gets people to feel sympathy for you. My friends who are close to me know what's going on with me. They know what my daily life is. If you're putting anything on social media, what is your motivation for what you need or want people to know who are not in your close circle? What is your reason for posting? What's your motivation for posting something for the whole world to see?" And I think this is just what people don't give any thought to now,
Yeah.
is the reason why they're saying anything, because social media just lends to encouraging self-disclosure, even to the point where it's self-destructive, because obviously, you know, the people who follow you are not all your friends or family members. They don't actually care about what you're going through.
Yep. Also, I'm not gonna lie. Like, a lot of times I'll type something out. I don't want your opinion. I don't want it. I want to type it out. You want the feeling that comes from posting it, but then you realize, look, I don't actually want the opinions of a bunch of people on this topic. I just wanted to kind of get my feelings or thoughts in order, put them to paper, sort it out, and then go on about my life. I am not so narcissistic to believe that anybody even actually cares.
I think this is like when it's like drunk texting millions of people.
Mm-hmm.
It's like drunk texting the entire world.
Yeah.
It's very self-destructive. And that, like, drunk texting is something I never even understood in the first place, because if I've been drinking, the last thing I want to do is look at a phone.
It was worse when I was like taking Ambien.
Yeah.
Ambien messages.
I mean, that's like people have literally no memory of what they're doing.
the
on
amount
Ambien.
of
I mean,
shit that I would type
Roseanne
out,
Barr being
the
number one
amount of
example.
stuff that I would say and type and then get done and be like, what the fuck was I talking about?
And
But
then,
in the moment,
you
it
know
is the
what's-
most real thing in the world to you.
You know what's most infuriating is that if someone like vague books or sad fishes or whatever it is you want to call it, that's something like vaguely like trying to make people think that they're in danger or that they're a danger to themselves,
Yeah.
and you actually do something about it, like if you actually call in a welfare check on them,
Yep.
then they see you as the
bad guy.
the bad guy,
Yeah.
like for even caring or thinking that they were serious, which I think I've actually been in one of those situations where I actually did have to call the police because I saw someone posting things like that, and then they got mad at me. And it's like, I was left with no other choice. Like, you're going to act like your life is in danger and expect me to just keep scrolling.
Yep.
Another said, "We've seen sad fishing posts that actually had to make calls and do welfare checks about. Those of us who know the person or a colleague, we do a welfare check because they're so concerning. They've seen sad fishing occur across many different age groups and platforms. and a variety and intensity of it depending on the platform used. On some platforms, it's more static, meaning it's just a post as opposed to something like TikTok where you can post videos. Some are even more chilling. If you just see a post and it's a phrase or two with pictures, or it's someone saying they're sad, that's hard enough. But when you have a video-based social media platform, you can see them, you can hear the cadence of the person's voice. It's very dramatic, and that's more impacting. And I guess that's where it comes in with people crying in their car on TikTok and trauma dumping about everything that's going wrong in their life. And it's just like, I know that it's a cry for help, but it doesn't exactly evoke sympathy from me.
I don't even know if it's a cry for help. It's just a weird modern day emotional release tool. It's not even a cry for help would be deeper than that, I feel like. If it led to more drastic consequences, it would be a cry for help. But I don't see it that way most of the time.
I mean, I just feel like there's something inauthentic about about crying in a TikTok for a bunch of strangers.
If you do it, now if you send that video or that text to a specific person, that means that you're looking to connect with someone. A person, not everyone. It's narcissistic to think that you should be able to connect with everyone about something so intimately personal.
But it's so inherently impersonal to post that for thousands of people.
I get it. Like, I have random thoughts that I would like to share sometimes that I often do. Like, I bet you if I looked at my drafts on Twitter, there would be at least one thing in there that would be like something that I definitely am like very happy that I didn't post. Right?
Okay, well, do you have an example?
I wanted to see if I could see if there's anything in my drafts.
Most of my drafts are like things that I thought were too controversial or I wasn't articulating it properly.
That's usually my issue as well. Yeah.
Do you see anything?
No, nothing of
or nothing that you are willing to tell
yeah.
us about exactly.
Oh, here's one. Not really the same. It says, nothing is more frustrating for me during the show than my brain not catching up to the point of discussion and not being able to remember the name of an actor, details of a past story, or the year or title of a movie that I'm trying to recall mid-thought. It's something that happens in waves. My focus and recall will be really sharp for a period of time, will suddenly fall off.
I have some drafts here.
Yeah.
They're not sad fishing. One said, I'm sorry, but calling for civility in political discourse is performative and gay. Another one said, if a girl tells you she's really into reading, just make sure she's not a porn addict.
There you go.
If you could, this was one of the tweets that you ghost wrote. If you could stop being a cunt and start serving cunt, that would be great.
Should have posted that one. I'm a great tweet ghostwriter.
Yeah.
Rick C says, that's from drugs, Brett. Tell me about it, bro.
If you ask a woman for her Snapchat instead of her number, you are a man-child.
Also, I do want to point out, Rick says that's from drugs, Brett. I think what it is also like we go a lot of random places in our discussion, and it's one thing if you're talking about a specific topic and you can't remember anything, but if we go from talking about Kim Kardashian to some random movie, I think it can be forgiven if you don't remember an actor's name off the top of your head right then and there most of the time.
Yeah.
But I'd like to think that for
99% of the time
for the most part, my memory is fairly good, but a lot of times it is about my brain not being able to catch up to me in the moment.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, I mean, I definitely notice there are people who post like just a photo of their hospital bracelet.
I posted a bunch when my finger got.
Well, yeah, but then that's the point, right? You showed people actually what happened instead of just posting a picture of your hospital bracelet with no caption, no explanation or context whatsoever, so that people would flood your comments, like just like asking you if you had a terminal illness or something. Like, I've definitely seen people do that, or they post like a photo of. I saw a girl post a photo of herself inside an ambulance. Once, with no explanation whatsoever.
Vague-bulancing.
Yeah, literally. Like, I know that sometimes it's a sob story, sometimes it's a genuine cry for help, but overall, if you're doing this as an adult, like, grow the F up.
Just tell everybody what happened.
And a lot of this is because people don't have friends. Thank you.
Yeah, quit being a cunt and start serving cunt, would you?
Yeah, if you have a problem, you need to talk about it with somebody in your real life. And unfortunately, because people are so isolated now, they either post something about it or they decide to go to therapy, which can also turn into something equally self-destructive.
Yep.
So maybe this is just an outpouring of therapy culture.
Oh, here's a great. It says, I'm watching Velma. Hashtag. I can't say that on air.
What is it?
It's just like kill me.
Oh, okay. That's not gonna get us a ding.
That was.
Well, that's definitely.
That's been in there for a long time.
That was definitely a cry for help.
Yes. Yeah. All right.
Okay.
Let's go to Super Chats.
Corey Anderson said, I have a friend that was a Ravens playmaker for a few years. It is a part-time job, nothing more. They get access to the games, hair, photos for free.
There you go.
Urashima Utaru said, 32K, that is well past more than enough. I mean, it's not like...
It's America's team. I mean, could we give them a little bit more?
It's not like something that can sustain you for if that's all you do, but none of them are just cheerleaders.
No.
They do other stuff. Chandler White said, I'm a bit behind, but I feel I need to respond to Brit slandering my name. I had it before the show. Also, MrBeast has no soul. So not all Chandlers. Hashtag not all Chandlers.
I didn't say that. I said, but Chandlers of a certain age. Chandlers of a certain age whose parents were, in their formative years when Friends was on.
If the Chandler is in his 20s, you can safely assume that's why. Shane H. Wilder said, the male gaze, well, at least someone is watching women's sports. Badumts. Carl Thomas said, sorry, the Cowboys suck. Great show.
Look, one of my favorite times of year is anytime football season comes around and I get to see all the memes about how miserable it is to be a Cowboys fan.
I never see any of those memes, but we have different algorithms.
We have very different algorithms.
Andrew Yu said, happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Have a great birthday, Barticus. Sorry for late listening to the audio, so always a day late.
Well, let's get to 3 crisis parties as a late, belated, additional birthday present for me. How about that?
I think we can still make it to 38. I still have faith.
We can do it.
That this is possible.
Yep.
Shane H. Wilder said, I had to see the Cringe yesterday. I retched.
What was the Cringe from yesterday?
The Cringe from today is what he saw yesterday.
Okay.
What was the Cringe yesterday?
I block it out as soon as
literally
it's
have
done.
no idea.
I block it out as soon as it's done.
Okay. Corey Anderson said, apparently the kneeling guy is special.
Meaning that he's what?
So I guess they're saying that they did the knighting ceremony for the guy who had special needs.
Okay, well, and then I apologize if that's true.
But we don't actually know if
But
that's
since I
true.
can't confirm that, we're gonna leave it as Cringe until confirmed. If we can confirm it later, maybe we'll go back.
I mean, all of the people in the video are certainly special. On the Raggedy Ann said, still waiting for Assassin's Creed Oakland. What would that look like?
Grand Theft Auto.
Corey Anderson said, rest of those guys are Western Kentucky Saber Guild, which provides members with an escape, exercise, and some combat skills through the lens of Star Wars.
Okay, now you're making it sound kind of cool.
That doesn't sound cool to me at all, but
I'm turning it around.
It doesn't seem cool. There's nothing you can do to make that seem cool. Bombchus said, Japan and its historical entirety has had one story about a black guy. I got an idea. Let's ignore all the other stories and tell that one.
Well, I mean, that's exactly what people are saying. They're like, look, you had an infinite number of stories to tell, and you picked the one that's perfect for modern 21st century America, I guess. Mm-hmm. Sure.
Tao said this along with what Ubisoft did with Assassin's Creed Mirage, shows the rise of revisionist historians. They all deserve to go to hell.
Yeah, so I mean, it's one thing if you're advertising it as not historically accurate, right? But
they're not.
This is the world we live in now. And the scary part about that, more than anything, is that the next generation won't be getting their information from books or even from the History Channel.
Gen Z is getting all their information from video games
And TikTok.
and Tic Tacs. Hiroshima Otaru said Ubisoft is a French and Quebec headed this project. Okay.
So a French guy and a Quebec guy walk into a bar. What happens?
Is this truly the fault of the Frostbacks?
Quebecois.
Corey Anderson said Septimius Severus was a Roman emperor that was born in Africa. I have read that he was known as the Black Emperor. Denzel is amazing, can play any role.
I agree. Denzel is amazing and can play any role.
But that is not the role he's playing.
No.
So
I am, speaking of, actually does nothing to do with any of that. Since it is the 4th of July weekend, every year I watch the movie Independence Day over the 4th of July. Usually, since we're off tomorrow, I was going to wait, but I think I'm going to watch it tonight because now it's like a long weekend. So it's like,
nice.
Ooh, I got extra days. So maybe I'll watch it at like 11 p.m. So going into midnight, I have watched it over the 4th of July weekend. It goes into the 4th because the movie takes place, it starts on July 2nd, my birthday, and it takes place over 2 days.
okay. Are there any other like patriotic movies that you think I should watch?
Team America World Police.
That's the one?
Yeah.
That Stanzatastic said viewers are reacting to the announcement of a Gladiator 2 movie starring Denzel Washington. Some are excited, while others are concerned about the potential for the movie to be politically incorrect.
Is that the
Thank you for the AI slop.
Thank you, that stands fantastic. We love the AI slop here.
Yeah.
Guys, let's get to a third crisis part here. Come on.
Bird Flu C. William said, that's alpaca. You blot that ish?
Yes, that's from American Gangster.
Okay.
It's alpaca. It's something $1,000 alpaca. You blot that shit.
That ish, Brett.
Nope.
Shane H. Wilder said,
If Denzel swears, I swear.
It's ramen with chocolate, graham cracker, and marshmallows. It looks like ramen made with Swiss Miss. Blech.
That's disgusting.
Whose idea was this? They should be in jail. Geneva said, as someone who lives near Columbus, Ohio, I thoroughly enjoyed that Cities by Diana yesterday.
Yes!
Finally, someone appreciates Cities by Diana. Finally. She's criminally underrated.
She's a modern day genius, and she should be celebrated by all.
Yeah.
That's who New Norm should hire to make their satire.
I am starting to think that we were tricked by the New Norm.
If it was, then good for them, but I don't think so. I don't think you get to make something that on the nose and then tell me that their tweets are not on the nose.
Do they follow you on Twitter?
I don't think so.
They weirdly follow my account.
Perfect.
So
You should send them a message.
maybe I should DM them. Rhaegar Targaryen said the West Coast Avengers are Hawkeye, Mockingbird, War Machine, Wonder Man, and Tigra. Also, Brett, rap is probably the most politically charged genre.
I mean, yeah, social issues and such, but I don't want to hear them rapping about specific politicians. The last thing I want to hear is an East Coast, West Coast feud that's like Alvin Bragg versus Gavin Newsom, or who's the mayor of New York?
Right now?
Yeah. Is that Hochul?
No, it's Eric Adams.
Eric
isn't
Adams.
it?
I don't want to hear Eric Adams v. Newsom. I want to hear Adams v. Newsom.
I could be totally wrong.
But no.
So they're talking about replacing Biden right now.
Okay.
I don't know if that's going to happen, but is this not playing into the theory that Taylor Swift is going to usurp the throne?
She's going to run? Swift 2024?
She's the heir apparent.
They have it. They can do it right now. Fetterman 2024.
No. I
Put
think
Fetterman in there.
Swift Fetterman.
Fetterman?
Swift Fetterman.
Fetterman Swift 2024. You got the rise and return of the Blue Dog Democrats.
Rhaegar Targaryen.
I mean, I'm not a huge fan of unions, but, if I got to choose between unions and full-on communism, I guess I'll take the unions.
Shane H. Wilder said, he's no Father Mike or Jonathan Rumi, but good for him. At least he's trying something positive.
Exactly. Yeah.
Omega Red fan said, young preacher just needs to watch the Departed movie a few times. LOL.
I think what we need is for him to get a little bit of voice acting lessons. What's it, Chandler? We need Chandler to take some, because he did the reading part fine. He's a better reader than I am. I'm horrible at reading, but it's like when he started giving his explanation, he needs to enunciate and really get into it a little bit more.
Give us the youth group leader we need.
Yeah. You know what he
Serenko-
could do? He can practice by picking 6 chairs up in each arm and bringing them up the stairs.
Well, he can like lift Bibles.
Yes.
You know. Serenko Productions said, not to be a negative Nancy, but what kind of Christian is Chandler? Not as wholesome if he's a woke Protestant who is affirming of Chris's transitioning. Well, I don't think he has said anything at all about Chris Tyson. Because if he did, then I would have heard about it.
And here's the thing, like when you're like somebody like me who's not religious, and it's like when you were talking about the differences between Protestants and like when you and Mike Lerner were talking about Protestants versus Catholics and pagans. I'm like, yeah, non-religious people don't know what you're talking about. We're just like, so Christian, Catholic, I don't know. What's the
Yeah,
difference?
but I mean, you know the difference between the aesthetics.
No.
Like,
I mean, I don't. I mean, I only vaguely in the sense that I follow some people that talk about it, but it's not like if you ask me questions about it, I'd be able to answer them.
no, I mean the aesthetics, not the ideas.
You mean the aesthetics of like the...
what a building looks like? You know what a cathedral looks like, and you know what a glass megachurch like Hillsong looks like.
I guess, but I don't attach that to any specific label. It's like, or was it you that was saying like Southern Baptist churches look a specific way?
Well, that would be different. I mean, that's like more so like kind of bare looking, smaller church houses that have steeples.
I see all of this stuff and I'm just like, are you happy? It doesn't make you happy. Good for you.
What if being Catholic doesn't make me happy? And what if I want
Does
to
it
be
fulfill
Catholic
you?
anyway?
Does it fulfill you?
Sure.
Okay. Then that's sometimes it's the best you can ask for.
Red Snow said, happy post-birthday, Brett. And as always, praise be to Space King. Also, hi, Mary. Hi.
Thank you. I had a good birthday. Other than having to watch The Acolyte,
I'm sorry.
I had a good birthday. It was a very good. We got Taco Tuesday.
Nice.
Tacos are always good. And then I did treat myself to an ice cream cone.
You treated yourself. You had a little delectable treat.
I went like this before
Don't
I bought
mind
it.
if I
Don't
do.
mind if I do. And I bought an Oreo
You tippy-toed.
ice cream cone. I went, "Ooh, now that I've had that, I need something sweet."
Yes. The Raggedy Ann said, sad fishing equals victim Olympics. Don't suck in life. That's good advice. Don't suck in life.
Flex fishing, where you just talk about how awesome you are.
Well, that's just
And your
flexing,
tape.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Tacty Platty said, Brett bringing up my AIM away message trauma. I'm sure the millennials in the chat.
In the chat, Mark
relating.
Hayes says, if you don't like religion, don't take Christmas off. Look, okay.
I don't think you ever said that you don't like religion.
I have never said that I don't like. I have no strong feelings one way or the other towards religion, other than the fact that I do acknowledge, however, smooth brain the take is, that there seems to be a lack of emotional fulfillment in society these days that seems to correlate heavily with the removal of religion from our world. And I think that what it's been replaced with is very abhorrent in a lot of cases, certainly the worship of self, which I don't agree with. But you don't get to just expect people to have like a one or the other opinion on these things. It's from what I've seen from everyone that I know that has found religion, it's a long journey for a lot of them, and you can't expect everyone walking a different path to find it just so they can have Christmas off. Sorry, doesn't work like that.
Yeah. Like if I worked at a bank.
You'd get
and
Juneteenth off,
And I
too.
got Juneteenth off.
Yeah.
I'm going to take it.
There you
I'm not
go.
going to work on Juneteenth, even though I think it's stupid.
Also, I think we worked over the first Christmas break here. It actually helped our channel grow a lot. We worked.
Well, that was more like the New Year's.
New Year. We a lot of people took that time off, and we worked through it. So he says, "Are you an atheist?" No, I'm. I guess you define me as agnostic or just too busy to think about it.
If the census asked you.
Yes, if they asked.
Shane H. Wilder said, "Tonight will be the night that I will fall for you."
Exactly.
That was the Sadfish.
Now the
What
modern.
is PLN?
I don't know. The modern day version of that.
is
If there was away messages now, it would be the guy who sings, "I'm at the Burger King with my Burger Queen.
Can I get
get
a large fry?
Exactly.
She's vegan, please, so don't put no cheese.
With some
With
honey mustard on the side.
side.
That's your modern away message.
I hope they're still together. I'm rooting for them.
Does it say what PLN is?
I looked it up. I think this person is Polish, which is cool.
Yeah.
Degartha said, all people who post stories where they threaten to unfollow anyone on Instagram, etc., if they don't respond, I never do, and they're still there. XD, my first super chat. Greetings from Poland.
Oh, Poland. Oh,
Greetings.
A fellow Polish person. Wait, so that's a thing? People say they threaten to unfollow if you don't respond?
Yeah, that's
like
weird.
the height of emotional blackmail.
That's really weird.
That's insane.
Yeah. I think maybe some people might have unfollowed me during the Black Square era for not posting one. Actually, what I
mean, if
didn't
they're
just
following you expecting a black square, they've come to the wrong place.
They didn't know me well enough. But I didn't just not post the black square. I posted a white square.
Of course you did.
Just to be a bitch. No. And then someone commented, like, that's the wrong color. Didn't anyone tell you?
I mean, people got unfollowed for posting 3 because they needed to have an aesthetically even timeline.
Stupid. Shane H. Wilder said, Sadfishing just seems like dashboard confessionals to cry about your black parade. In actuality, it is just something corporate.
Very true.
So true. On the Raggedy Ann said, Sadfishing reminds me of the blue-haired self-parent video. Yeah, they're cradling themselves.
Mark Hayes says, stop saying Merry Christmas. Say, Merry, I'm a proud non-believer day. I will start saying that. I will start saying that.
What? Is this the war on Christmas?
The war on Christmas all over again. They're like,
I'm not going to say that. Red Snow said, question, dark meat or mixed for fried chicken?
I don't really eat fried chicken.
I do. But I guess both?
There you go.
I don't know why you're asking me what you need to do at your barbecue tomorrow. I keck, therefore I meme, said, Assassin's Creed game is made by Ubisoft Quebec. Blame Canada.
Blame Canada.
I'm okay with blaming Canada for everything. So that's great.
We're about 3/4 of the way to Crisis Party number 3, guys. Come on.
We got
a
a
$20 one there.
from
Speaking of Canadian.
Mr. Moose Knuckle. He said, currently on season 2 watching The Chosen, which is a crowdfunded show about Jesus and his apostles. It's made like a drama. Definitely recommend.
Apparently the most successful crowdfunding campaign of all time.
Yeah, it's pretty incredible what they've been able to do with it.
I've seen it, like I've passed it on, I think, Amazon Prime, and I stop and I say maybe later.
I watched a couple of episodes. I didn't stick with it, but I know a lot of people really like it and they've recommended it before.
Maybe I'll check it out.
I mean, for you, maybe it would be more interesting if you're not as familiar with the stories.
Probably. I mean, that's actually probably, like, I'm sure they've actually probably gotten a lot of people to find, maybe not find faith, but at least look further into it through dramatic retellings like that.
The Rumbling said, sad posting is why it's too hard to tell if a person might be a mass pew-pewer. These people need to make friends.
It does help to make friends.
Ugh. Just, you don't want to be in the room when they reach in that backpack. Shane H. Wilder said, I do want to say happy 4th of July. I have to work tomorrow, Friday, and Saturday, but it's going to be easy days. That and double time and a half.
Double time and a half.
Damn.
Let's go.
Well, I'm glad that PCC is for listening to at work.
Yes.
For that reason. Red Snow said, Murica coming again to save the MFing day.
Yep. You should watch Team America World Police. It is funny how the world, how liberal politics have changed, considering the whole movie's, a lot of it is a satire about, America being, pretty oppressive over the rest of the world and spreading democracy all over, wherever there's oil. It's good.
Just drones striking people with democracy bombs.
Yep. We need to play that Cities by Diana one again about Pride Month democracy.
Yes, queen. But I have not seen anything about July 4th, from celebrities or anything.
The people who have to performatively hate the 4th of July.
Yeah, I haven't seen any of that discourse this year.
Yep.
Which is interesting. Might have something to do with the fact that this was a more muted Pride Month.
I mean, I'm okay with that. I'm okay with everything kind of going back to maybe what it is like everybody just needed to get the internet out of their system. Like once social media became mass popular, and now they've said their piece, and now they're doing it, and now they're moving on.
Highly doubt that that's gonna happen.
Wishful thinking.
Dull and Tired said Protestants have no art. LMAO. Well, I wouldn't say they have no art, but I do think the Catholics have better art. And obviously more of it because we've been around longer. Frankentosh said, have you guys been following the super mayor saga in Dolton, Illinois?
Is that really corrupt lady?
Another must-watch train wreck of rampant corruption.
It's like this one lady who's basically like a crime lord, if I'm remembering correctly.
I have not seen anything about this.
You'll have to tell us whether I'm right about that or not. I remember a story about that last year, and I was just like, well, they're politicians, so they're all corrupt. But like, it was like worse than normal.
Greg Duvier said, Mary, do you find being Catholic nourishing?
Banned. Look, it's not as bad when you're not talking about food, when you're not lecturing about healthy foods. It's when you're lecturing about healthy foods that the word nourishing can go jump off a cliff.
It's spiritually nourishing. Red Snow said that Burger King duo makes me want to unsub.
Well, just because you're uncultured.
Okay. If you can't appreciate the Burger King serenade, you don't belong here.
Look, we will hang out till 5. Well, it's the day before the 4th of July weekend. We've got 2 days off. We will hang out till 5 today.
But there will still be videos coming out.
Oh yeah, we got plenty of content.
Yep. But that's for the people who generally don't watch live.
Is Mark Hayes in the chat still want to yell at me for not being religious? He might still want to yell at me for not being religious.
Was he just joking?
Yeah,
or was
I'm
he
sure.
serious?
I'm sure he was joking, but I'm just saying that's how people who aren't religious feel when you talk to them that way. It doesn't help when you're combative with people like that. It just makes them want to. I'm just gonna not religion harder.
I don't know. For an ex-Catholic, you don't hate Catholicism as much as people would expect.
Say that again.
For being like an ex-Catholic, like you don't hate Catholicism as much as a lot of ex-Catholics
I don't hate it at all.
do.
I'm ambivalent about it. I was not. It was not pushed on me in a way that. The only thing that I thought was frustrating was like, okay, so here's a personal story that would seem like too much if it was through text.
Okay.
So when my parents split up, when they divorced, my dad started taking us to church more frequently again. Like we used to go to church, but not always super frequently. And then when they split up, we would start going to church every Sunday. I'm like, why am I getting punished? Because you and mom got divorced. And I love my dad and I love my mom. But at that time, I was young. All I wanted to do on Sundays was sleep until noon and then go skating.
But how did you know it had anything to do with the divorce?
I don't know if it did. I just know that it coincided with that time period. So
okay.
And I have no negative feelings one way or the other. What I find the more interesting discussion is how we bring new ideas to people, right? So whether they like it or not, I believe that religion as a whole, or at least the Catholic religion, has a handicap when it comes to promoting to youth because it's so easy to promote degeneracy to kids. It looks so much more appealing because it's supposed to be something they're not supposed to do. So when Hollywood pushes new ideas on people, it's very easy to do that because it goes against the cultural norms of their parents. Now, the things they might have going for them in the future is like, look, if we were raised in a future that's largely secular, maybe those ideas will appeal to them much in the way that non-religious ideas appealed to kids who were raised in religious families in the past.
Well, I guess from my perspective, the reason I think that Catholicism has a handicap, I guess you would call it, when it comes to reaching the youth, is because they don't take them seriously, and they think that all the things that appeal to them as boomers and Gen Xers is going to appeal to young people today, like rock and roll, and like guitars at mass, and like we wear sandals and we're really laid back and chill. But like young people today don't find that appealing. They actually want to be taken seriously and they want to take their faith seriously. Yeah. And that's why they're going to like Latin mass and stuff like that. Thank you.
It's kind of like it doesn't work when it's framed through the lens of modern popular culture. Like I said, when it's like, what if a Catholic rapper rapped like Ice Spice? I'm like, Don't do that. Don't do anything.
Young people don't want Catholic Ice Spice.
They don't want that. And again, most of the stuff I see on Instagram where they're doing it, I assume it's satire.
We can only hope.
But I don't know.
Pop Culture Junkie said, been getting wrong number texts who try to engage me. Some new scam? I mean, probably. It's always, your UPS package has been delivered, but it was left at the warehouse.
Yeah.
Give us your credit card information. Red Snow said, as a past Burger King employee, I know they are trash. Burger King foot lettuce.
I went to Burger King the other day. A double cheeseburger cost $5.39.
That's crazy. The fact that a fillet of fish, like on its own, not even as a meal, costs about the same.
It's disgusting.
It's literally frozen fish with 2 pieces of bread.
Yep.
It's a crime against humanity, even though it is good. Shane H. Wilder.
Did we skip a 20? I don't think we skipped a 20. Somebody said we skipped a 20. The rumbling. Did we get that one? Yes. Hold on.
Don't know. Oh, okay. I'm sorry I missed this. I assumed that we had read it already.
Thank you for acknowledging that.
Sorry. He said, like I said about Assassin's Creed when you first covered it, get past the superficial and look at the fact that China owns Ubisoft since 2018. And this is a way for them to give a middle finger to both the West and Japan.
Xi Jinping's just like, screw you guys.
Is that really the 4D chess that's going on behind the scenes? I don't know. For some reason, I find it hard to believe. Shane H. Wilder said, the walking on water with Jesus and St. Peter was actually really well done on The Chosen. I saw Jonathan and Jesus on Prime about Rumi's faith. When not acting, he manages an apartment.
He's a landlord?
Is he a landlord or a manager?
I already like him if he's a landlord, okay?
The Rumbling, already read that one. Waffle Sensei said, Brett, since you are a learned man and don't believe in God, can you walk me through how matter came into being and organized itself into consciousness?
Well, referring to me as learned is hilarious. And I didn't say, I believe I said I'm agnostic, which is not the same thing.
So you neither believe nor don't
I don't know
believe.
what I know enough to know I don't know enough, and haven't felt a call to really look into it any further outside of the tangential discussions we have about the issues that religion has today facing finding new members. And certainly a lot of it is interesting to talk about the crisis of consciousness that this country seems to be going through and how it connects to the lack, the dropping numbers of religion. Mm-hmm. Which I do find interesting, and how it seems to be filled with other ideologies. Like certainly, like humans need faith. They need something to believe in, and it's being filled elsewhere now.
See, that's the thing that I think is the best proof of at least some supernatural like aspect of existence is the fact that we seem to have a need for it.
Yeah.
Why would a creature in a completely natural existence want anything supernatural or even be able to conceive of such a thing?
Yeah.
It's like being able to like imagine another color. That doesn't really make sense to me, like why we would have that need if there weren't something to fulfill it.
I mean, maybe it's the opposite. Maybe it's that I'm not learned enough to be able to understand these things. Maybe that's what it is. But
which is why we're going to get an exorcist on the podcast and talk all about it. Corey Anderson said, are Brett and Mary the black sheep of the Timcast fam?
Yes. We have been abandoned here.
We're the attic children.
If we were in the Harry Potter franchise, I guess we wouldn't be Harry Potter, but we would definitely be the locked under the stairs.
We should do our show under the stairs.
That would be a good idea. There's a $20 there from
Bomchus?
I kept looking at that, but it said Bomchungus at first, but it doesn't say that.
We can just say Bomchungus. He said, remember to tune in to Lotus Eaters tomorrow. Hopefully the 4th of July becomes their Independence Day as well.
Also, guys, even if you don't have time to watch the movie Independence Day over the 4th of July weekend, do go on YouTube and watch President Whitmore's amazing speech. It's worth your time.
Desumasuku said, hi, Bread and Marty. I send my PS5 group pics of my IV arm bit, not for sympathy, Just to let them know I have a kidney stone and won't be online. Happy 4th. Yeah, I was referring to like people who post just the picture without the explanation.
Correct.
Sounds like you're good. Yoshima Otaru said China doesn't own Ubisoft. Tencent has a 10% stake.
Okay, so more information coming out.
Okay, so it's not Xi Jinping behind all of this.
Too bad.
Shane H. Wilder said, agree with Mary. No one wants guitars in mass. Give me a pipe organ and Gregorian chant any day. And yes, Rumi is a landlord. Watch the doc.
Love it. Love it.
Love that for him.
I mean, his name is Rumi, after all.
He's subletting while he's out filming The Chosen.
I love it.
Okay, we've got another one from Red Snow. Last chat of the day. Love you guys and see you next week. Myrtle and Birtle are equally beautiful. Praise be to Space King. One day you will convert.
Well, we'll...
to your Space King religion?
To be Space King? I can't wait.
Is that Scientology?
Well, okay, so the other thing that's interesting about it is I do find a certain level of fascination about Hollywood's relationship with Christianity and Catholicism. And their use and depiction of it in movies and television, which, you know, we point out a lot of times that they like to drag them, and that certainly does happen. But, you know, I was a big fan of the Daredevil and of the show, you know, the Netflix show, and his relationship with, you know, with Catholicism in that. And certainly there's a lot of examples in movies and television where it's not always necessarily negative, though they do love to take their cheap shots. But it's interesting. And I feel like that's actually more useful to me to be able to look at it from an outsider's perspective. And perhaps if I was religious, I wouldn't be able to look at it in a more neutral fashion, because they certainly don't take that approach with other religions. They're certainly far less willing to criticize other religions. And I can look at that and say, look, it's a problem, but also be interested in why they chose to do that and the social implications of it. It's a mild fascination, but not something that I don't have a stake in that battle.
Red Snow, Tacti Platy said, gonna show a buddy Twister for the first time tomorrow.
I'm gonna have to rent it. Apparently it's not on any streaming services, so I'm gonna have to rent it on Amazon Prime to rewatch, because I haven't seen it in years. So,
are you going to before the sequel?
Yes,
okay.
I will.
DCNC said Metatron did a series on Assassin's Creed.
Okay. ...
Okay, here's the thing though. Let's say we invited Metatron on the show. Would we just talk about Assassin's Creed, even if like there's nothing going on with Assassin's Creed?
Yeah.
Like that like it needs to be the right moment.
We've gotten pretty lucky in the past about news coming up perfect for that person at that time, and we kind of formulate the show around whoever the guest is that day.
Yeah, and usually there's just some weird synergy going on.
For instance,
like something just happens to come up.
Dane was supposed to be on today, but work came up, and we talked about Assassin's Creed because Dane was supposed to be on, because Dane is obviously more involved in video games.
And we almost talked about Final Fantasy because he's really into that. Prince Elian said, here's to the cuts, Crisis Under the Stairs.
Perfect.
That's going to be our new podcast title.
In the cuts.
DCNC said Metatron has never made a video on Taylor Swift. Well, and if you like Metatron so much, why don't you just marry him?
Why don't you marry him? Huh?
Carnell said...
Who said that? Prince Elliot?
No, it's DCNC.
DCNC and Metatron sitting in a tree.
Carnell said, Happy Independence Day, PCC and Crisis actors. Brett, would you check out the trailer 1992? It looks like a holdover film from 2020. It stars Tyrese Gibson, Scott Eastwood, and the late great Ray Liotta.
Yeah, I saw the cover for it because it had a picture of Tyrese with a beard, and it advertised Ray Liotta was in the film. I'm like, Ray Liotta died like last year. It must have been done ages ago. It was really funny. So actor Eric Roberts has just wrote a book that's coming out. We mentioned him recently because we were talking about Julia Roberts and Emma Roberts and Nepo babies. His IMDb, like he had like a quote. I saw Colonel Kurtz talking about this, where he was like struggling at one point, and his wife asked him like what he need, like, you know, what is it that would help you? And he's like, I need to be on set every day. He has 733 acting credits to his name and like 15 to 20 things a year.
That's insane.
So he
That's
must
a
just,
mental illness.
He must just go from project to like film, like short, like small.
Like, how do
film
you
to-
even have a family?
That's crazy.
Yeah, that's nuts. I remember like one of the very first things that I was asked to write for Timcast was a Ray Liotta obituary article. And I was like, why are you asking me to do this?
Yes.
But I managed it somehow. Red Snow said, Brett, I love you, but you went way too hard. 40K is about satire. It's making fun of religion and political systems. Being over the top is the joke.
What? 40K?
What, Warhammer?
Are we talking war? I don't know what we're talking about here.
I don't know.
You'd have to tell me what you mean by 40K. I don't know what that is. If you're talking about Warhammer, I don't think I went to. I don't
think we mentioned Warhammer.
We haven't talked
but-
about Warhammer today, so I'm not sure what you're talking about.
Corey Anderson said, bring Vera back and you can talk about the weird Kotaku Les calling for people to fight her. Yeah, we already did talk about Alyssa Mercante, but we do want to get Vera back on the show in some point in the near future.
She's about to hit 100K. She's I think she just hit 97, so Vera's on the way up. She's doing great work.
But I guess if they're actually going to go through with the fight, we should go like cover it.
That would be amazing.
We'll be the fight.
So I want whoever loses. I want to be that one where Joe Rogan sits on the ground with the guy and does the interview.
Love it. Okay. What's the next one from Taxi Platty?
Yep.
Twister is on HBO Max. Homie confirmed. Need login.
Nope, I got it. Thank you for that. It wasn't when I last checked, but apparently it's been added.
They always do this.
I'm gonna have to do it. Yeah,
right under your nose.
It was really funny. I had one of those things happen recently where I was watching something and midnight hit and it like just disappeared. Like it went to the next episode and just wouldn't play.
That's horrible.
Awful. One more here. I mean, we're almost to a fourth crisis party before we go. Maybe we'll make it before the credits.
4 crisis parties
for the July 4th? Come on, guys. There's one more there, though.
Daniel G said, stay hydrated and don't lose any fingers this weekend, y'all.
I haven't lost any. I do wear my splint when I go skating.
Let me see it.
The swelling has gone down.
It's definitely still crooked.
No, it's not.
I can see it.
It's fine.
I can see it. It's crooked.
It's fine.
You've permanently maimed your pinky.
It's perfectly fine.
And you're like fine with it.
It's perfectly fine. There's one more there.
DCNC said Violet Brandini or Metatron. That's the choice. That is a false choice. How about neither? No hate to Metatron. No comment on Violet Brandini. We're not having either of them on the show.
Violet has super chatted this show before, right?
Multiple times.
Multiple times?
Yes.
Okay. All right. Yes. Well, there you go, guys. One more here from V Wit there. Hopefully, maybe that sends us over the fourth crisis party, but let's just check here.
Do you want to read this one?
No, you can.
Okay.
You're a better reader than me.
V Wit said, monkey, 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 doo-doo. Sorry, had to fill a character field. Happy belated birthday. Mr. Burtonmeyer the fourth. Heart emoji.
Burtonmeyer is good. That's fine. I like that better than just Bert somehow.
I like Sir Dasovic.
That's fine. That's fine. We're getting very close to that fourth crisis party. Let's see where that puts us to. We got one more there from High Voltage 75.
Mary, watch Twister 2. It's fun, has no sex scenes, and it has relationship drama for the lady viewers.
There you go.
Is that true?
Yes.
There's relationship drama in Twisters?
Yep. Twister, yeah.
Twister.
I don't know if it does in Twisters, but we'll have to see there. And there's one more there from Shane H. Wilder.
Have a wonderful 4th, everybody. Let's go.
Exactly. Let's go. All right. And one more from On the Raggedy End with no message. Thank you so much for that. Sorenko Productions says, Happy Independence Day, everyone. Have fun with 3 American flags. I agree. All right, Mary, do you want to let everybody know where they can find you?
And we just reached the 4th crisis
We did.
party.
So assuming that it does not happen before we sign out, I will do a post-credit crisis party. Also remember, guys, to please hit the like button on this video and subscribe to this channel if you have not done so already. Also remember that there will be videos coming out, staggered segments throughout the rest of the week and the weekend. So please tune in for those. Every view counts.
Love that. Okay, you guys can send me validation on Instagram at Mary Archived, or you can send me hate on X. That is also Mary Archived. Have a happy July 4th.
Yes, a happy July 4th to all of you. I could do the NPR outro again as we wait for... Oh, there it is.
I like the American flag colors. Thank you. Oh, can we watch the Fergie national anthem as our outro?
No.
Our outro
we've
music?
already had Cringe today. I can't put myself through it.
I'm pulling it up.
If I watched one, I would watch the Lillian Garcia American the national anthem before I'd watch the Fergie one.
I am sending you the link
do not
as
wanna do
we
this.
speak.
Okay. Do we have to
It's
do this?
necessary. It's for the culture.
We'll watch a couple of seconds of it. I'm not watching all of this. We're not doing all of this. Here we go.
Okay.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly wave?
The players are like, what the hell? No, we're gonna get copyrighted for this.
We are?
All-Star, yeah, we're gonna get copyrighted for this All-Star
Who
game.
owns it?
Yeah, we're not. That's ESPN.
Okay,
Not
never
doing
mind
this,
then.
guys. If you would like to follow me, Instagram and Twix at Brett Dasovic on both of those platforms. This show is usually here 5 days a week, Monday through Friday, 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, noon Pacific. We will be off for the rest of the week, but we will be back on Monday. We are on Amazon Music, Apple Podcasts, Pandora, and Spotify. If you would prefer to listen rather than watch this show, and if you want to follow the show on social media, we are on Twix at popculture_show, Facebook and not TikTok at Pop Culture Crisis, Instagram at Pop Culture Crisis Pod. Mary, there's one more there.
From whom?
I think it's from Shane H. Wilder.
For the culture, raises sword and charges into battle.
With that being said, ladies and gentlemen, have a happy 4th of July tomorrow, a fantastic weekend, and we will see you on Monday.
Bye.
Bye, everyone.